Monch in Boston at the RedBull EmSee battle.
Yeah, with Beamtown. It's good.
So you're a judge tonight. What are you looking for? Like, what are the components that you feel are necessary to be a successful battle MC?
I mean, you definitely got to go for the throat. Looking at, time frame that you can get your lines off and your battle rap off. So you're looking for people to get to the point, but at the same time, you could be blown away by something completely different and comical or different attitude or personalities. So I don't know what the personalities are like. So I'm just waiting to see like everybody else.
Is there anything in particular that's like a no-go for, like something that you just shouldn't do, or is it everything goes, it's war, whatever in a battle?
I mean, it's open, until you don't know until you cross that line, and then you're like, oh no, oh God, why'd you say that? Why'd you do that?
Right. Have you ever been in a battle?
I think I had like one significant battle because when I was coming up, we went straight for records. Like we were influenced by the records. In this era, it's like, which is beautiful, it's come back around full circle to where they're not really, in my opinion, playing authentic hip hop at radio. And then you have this big internet explosion, downloads as well as exposure and YouTube, and so it's beneficial in terms of exposing what you could do where we didn't have that then. The way to do that was records then. You could spend a lifetime in a cipher back then and no one would ever see you on your block. So our goal was immediately, like, how do we learn how to make records but bring our craft into that? So that's what we went for. But to answer your question, we were already signed, we were at a convention, and I was in a cipher, and this cat came at me, and I was like, wow, I get a chance to unleash some aggression right now, so it wasn't that good for him, I don't think. But we were already signed, so I missed that whole mentality. I even tried to go into it, but I just made records.
Do you feel like that ferocity is something that today's MC or rapper lacks, or do you see very many young MCs with that, that battle? Maybe they're not necessarily battle MCs, but they approach recording their albums or their records, ferociously like that with the battle mentality.
I think it's all a learning process for the individual, depending on who you are. You go through that process and hopefully you make the jump, or you connect to the recording process, or use your ability in freestyling and in battling to help, incorporate that into what you're doing. There's so many different ways to do that. What we don't have now is the tutelage and the people who work artists. And I noticed from back then, a lot of producers were not only just giving people beats, but they were producing records, and they were coaching artists and telling them what they needed to do to be to make it, to fit and have something valuable in the marketplace. Because that's what it winds down to. Once you defeat everybody in battle, you need to go somewhere with your talent, and you need to have a song to perform in front of your fans, and there's a math to that. And not many artists have really gone on to do phenomenal numbers like an Eminem. And I think every time I see somebody win one of these competitions, that's what I hope for, pray for them, that they become, maybe not as huge as Eminem, but they go on to have a successful music career as well, you know, and that's a whole different monster in itself.
In terms of like longevity and being able to grow and develop as a rapper, an MC, whatever, an artist in general, like I'm a fan. So when I take, you know, like Pharoahe with Organized Confusion, and then down the road to Pharoahe now with like War, when the albums and the growth and the progression, like what were like were there main, you know, things that happened in your life, or, you know, what has brought you from then, you know, 91 to 2012 as an artist and as an individual who's creating?
I think that's just it. Learning to interpret, you know, how you go about life and your ups and downs and successes, and interpret them to song. For what purpose, though, and how it translates, and its honesty. You know, of recent with War, you know, I'm being more introspective than I've ever been, more honest. You know, the other records are bullets and characters on different things. This record is like, this is how I feel. This is how my heart got broke. This is, you know, how I feel spiritually about how I feel people are way more similar than they are different. The gist of that record is about awareness that I feel people are unconsciously coming into, about how this 99% that you're hearing about now is way more alike than we are different globally. And it is going to be a war on so many different levels, not in the sense of weapons, but just people's agendas, you know? So that's dear to me because I'm aware of it. So I needed to speak about it on this War album. It's not just, you know, police, but it's my asthma or health or these different things that I think are coming to forefront now with our politics. You hear people speaking about healthcare because it's real.
It is. It's life. All right. Now when you have a lot of young artists, you know, they're coming out, they're putting out songs, records, you know, with a formula, it seems like, you know, young artists, they have like the club song, they have like the song for females, they have the I'm Drunk song. Do you feel, you personally, I just want your opinion, do the formulas, is that a good thing to get into? I know people have restraints with labels and things that you quote unquote have to do, but as far as grasping a fan base, you know, is it,
I
where will
think
that take?
if you're in a major situation, you can implement those songs into that system and they work for a certain artist. And even with those songs, some of them are super contrived and some are better than others, you know, depending on, you know, what you're going for. If you're independent right now, it's best to try and carve your own niche in the way you go about how you present what you're feeling, no matter what it is. Even if that's what you choose to do, it needs to be something different about it that makes the consumer separate you from everything else. Because too much information on the internet, there's too many songs, too many artists, and you want to grab someone's attention. The easiest way to do it is with, you know, honesty. You could put, you know, rapper in front of the wall, and the first thing that comes off is whether that person is honest and real or not. So it still goes back to that core, no matter what they're rapping about and talking about. So you just want to carve your sound and your feel from out of the midst of what all of this madness that's going on. And the more you do that, the more people start to take notice to what you're doing and how you're doing it, how you're saying it.
What do you think one of the greatest that artists have, young artists who are trying to get on about just about what happens when you know, sign a deal or when you get quote unquote on.
You know, in that machine, it's a system to it. You know, you're basically, you know, lent money to produce a product, and then they spend money on your product, basically make money. The percentages are in their favor, how they get their money back. So they have to also play a game as well in the system in terms of the major way to promote records in that regard is radio. It's only a certain amount of time during the course of the day with commercials, and who gets in those time slots. So it's based upon, you know, the muscle that companies have to get you in that time slot, and it's a very, very difficult game to play if they're not willing to really greenlight you and make you that noticeable. A lot of times it works, and a lot of times artists get even overshined by what it takes. We have this super producer, we have Rihanna on the song, and all of these things, and your publishing is lacking because you didn't produce the right song, and all of these different things that take away from you growing and having a successful career at the end of the day if all that doesn't work out for you. So it's a big gamble, but you got to be willing to take it. A lot of artists embrace that as well, and they go for it, and I respect that too.